Umesh,
Hello?
can you hear us?
Yes, Emma, I can hear you.
Why can't I hear anything? Oh, that's the one I need. I'm not on. Volume is up. Volume is up there. Umesh, can you come off mute and tell me if you can hear me?
Yes, Emma, I can hear you. Hello?
He's speaking. I
Hello?
can't hear him.
Is this connected to audio as well?
Not that, but my laptop, right?
Some of the HDMI ports
Will take my audio.
They take the audio as well.
There's no other cable in here.
Can you speak again?
Yes, Anand. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Well done.
Okay.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, so you can, perfect. Okay, so everyone can hear. Perfect. So we only have Umesh. Is anyone else joining? Is anyone else there from the offshore team going to join Umesh?
He's working for offshore. He's working in another location, BCP.
Oh, right. Okay.
So-
okay. He's not with the
Yeah, with Chennai.
with that team. Okay. All right. So today I'm going to start. I'm sure this live event it's recording, right? If I said start broadcasting, it is recording. I'm sure, hopefully. So I'm going to. So last session we touched we concentrated on the planning side of the integrated financial planning. This week, we're going to quickly talk about I'm quickly just going to demonstrate the workbooks, the different workbooks that they have about that. And I'm going to talk about security a little bit. And then I'm going to ask you guys to play back what you know. I think that's what we're going to cover today. You were in the actual session, so you don't need me to go through that again, right? That walkthrough we did when Prakash and Paddy and Muhammad Yunus were in the room.
Yeah, but at the time, it's like overview kind of thing. A wider audience is not there. Mainly, we are requesting to cover for offshore.
Okay,
things.
so let's do that first then.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
So hopefully we'll cover all that. Hopefully we can get it all done in time. The session is recorded and it's there as well.
Yeah, it's there. It will
so-
help us, for.
So it shouldn't make any difference what I'm going to do now. So with any integrated planning solution, you always need actuals to support the planning processes. And those actuals need to be common in a common structure to how their planning structure is. So we bring those actuals from BW with a HANA view, which we create a data source of BW. So my understanding is you're going to be supporting from the data source, a layer, all the way through to the reporting layer, right? You won't be looking at the HANA view, which is fine. Not even I support the HANA view.
So both is supporting?
this would be Naresh. And
Naresh.
yeah, I don't have access to production, so if I have an issue, I go to them. And I
Okay,
guess
so
it'll be
they
the
only,
same.
created that calculation view to support this.
So
section.
I created it, they got it through test, and if I have any issues with it now, I talk to them. So I think
Yes,
you'll be,
initially you created.
yeah. And then, so that we create a data source which looks at that HANA view. Okay? So run an info package, which essentially just runs the HANA view.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's how we extract the data.
Offshore.
Sorry, offshore, yes. Hello? Hello? Permission. Vivek? Okay, so I just switch on the speaker. So that's fine, right?
They've got to go to the Hangout
You need to go into the Hangouts.
that I
Okay.
sent just a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Just join the Hangouts.
Keep the phone on there. Phone on there. Speaker.
Join Hangouts.
You can get the other person.
They need to.
They need to see the screen.
Yeah.
Wait. Hello. Vivek Anand பேசுறேன். Hello, Vivek Anand பேசுறேன். Hello. Hangouts ஆடியோ கேட்டுக்கிறீங்களா? இது ஆடியோ வேணுமா? எக்ஸ்டென்ஷன் இந்த இதுல போன்ல இருந்து. சரி, ஓகே. ஸ்பீக்கர்ல போட்டு வைக்கிறேன். Hangouts வந்து எந்த லிங்க் தெரியலையா? இப்போ recently Emma shared a new link. You have to join with that.
10 minutes ago.
We were not able to see you, man. Huh? இல்ல, I think you are joined in the different Hangouts link. You have to use the Hangouts link, yeah. Hangouts link which has been recently sent by Emma.
It's because we're streaming it, that's why we need a new link. Okay, we're not going to have enough time. I'm going to carry on. We're going to run out of time. And your playback's very
Okay, I just
important.
put in speaker. Emma will start, and you can guys join in the meantime.
Yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, we're just going to quickly touch on the actuals part again. So with any planning solution, we need a common source of actuals to support the planning processes. These we get by creating a HANA, we created a HANA view, and we link a data source in BW to that HANA view. So here is the name of the, sorry, let me just present again. That is the name of the data source, okay? Let me show, I was just going to show you on the system quickly where we are. So the actuals are stored in ZOT RPCF1, it's a DSO, and this is the data flow. So your data source is the same one there, and there is
So this data source internet is looking for a HANA view.
yeah, it reads a HANA view.
HANA view, which is sourced from which DSO or
Integrated reporting view.
reporting on top of this.
Yeah,
Billing
yeah,
and everything, right?
yeah. So it reads the integrated reporting view
Predominantly you touch from billing.
predominantly.
Okay.
Yeah. So as for field routines and transformation routines, is not much is actually done in the data flow. A lot of the logic is done in the HANA view already. There is, so one thing is although in the integrated reporting view, there could be data from several value types, scraps, and actuals. You got 10 and 72, but we just make it all 10. We don't need to distinguish that in planning, whether it's come from scraps or whatever, because that key figure is mapping, the scraps key figure is mapping into the key figure.
Look for the net values.
Exactly. So we just put everything to 10. So you'll see hard-coded 10. AUD is hard-coded in there as well. And we created, as I said, 4 fiscal year variant. Okay, so it's coming through as a week.
Supermarket, you are hard-coding to AUD, right?
Yep. For SD.currency. So that's the only thing there. Goes into info source, and then another one over here. We just hard code the version actuals, and we calculate some time characteristics. Okay, there's a start routine here. So the data is stored by article week, not site, just article week. All right, in the start routine, this is to support the field routines of deriving the time characteristics. Okay, these ones here, because we need it to be in Z4.
Z4.
Yes. Okay. So it's quite straightforward. We have several info packages. So the one that runs daily is the last 6 weeks. Runs every single day once the billing BO report trigger has taken place, or runs in parallel to that. So when everything's ready for the BO trigger to go, so does this chain, the daily chain run. Okay. On a weekly basis, on a Saturday morning at 10, we run the last 117 weeks. Okay. And that just does a full 117 weeks. So quite straightforward. Let's just get back to the presentation.
So all the way to the target till the earlier, all the transformation key figures are overwritten.
Overwrite. Yeah, or overwrite. So as I was saying, those are the constant values. Value type 10, AUD, fiscal year variant, Z4 version. Very important to note, just to distinguish that it's Z4. I don't want to just like brush over it. All the other reporting is Z2. So definitely a mindset you need to have when you're looking at the data, that your time periods are all week and not month. You've got no month stamped in the data. Okay, it's all weekly stamped. You can only derive it from variables. Okay, very important. Version concept, which you don't have in reporting for actuals, is always 0. Okay. Then there's saying 2 process chains. The daily runs -6 weeks. So it's current week -6 weeks, and then the weekly is. I need to update this. It was 65 weeks, but we did it. It's now 117. Yeah, it's now changed. Those are the UC4 jobs. Okay, so that's quickly in a nutshell the actuals. It's really not very complicated at all. So now to go through the workbooks. Okay.
So do we have another session to put the HANA views, or you will?
No, you're not supporting the HANA view.
At least.
No, you're not supporting the HANA view. We're not having another session. So let's carry on. Workbooks. So AFO, the business use versions 1.4.10 or somewhere on 1.4.14 support pack. Important that they're not on 2.x or any two versions, okay? So workbooks are created in analysis. Actually, I'm not even sure I'm going to have all the access in the system. So, I will go through the roles a little bit later. I'll show you in production the actual roles, but I'll just open. So there's two main workbooks. One workbook is used by all the planners, meaning the category managers or their supporting BA. This is the workbook that is actually input, allows them to plan the numbers. The cells are input enabled. There's another workbook which is used by the central finance team, and this workbook it's read-only, so that the actual query is read-only, but allows them to execute the planning sequences. Okay, so I'm going to open up that one. So this is a CFTS review. Sorry, it's so small on the screen here. It's at a much higher level, so it's called review department because it's drilled down by department. Over here, they've got the options on their prompt. It's always hard-coded to sales org 1005. Then the plan year from and version from is just by default put into 2017 and the current version. And then they have the ability to put in the other plan year 2 and version 2. So if they're creating their corporate forecast, which is the process which we've been through before, and I'll get you to tell me about that later, I will go in and put in the version. Okay, you can either select it from the list or they can type it in. Click OK. I'm sure UBW quite slow. Okay. So here they've only looked at specific key figures, and they want to see this is the version. Basically, it's the version from. The version 2 is hidden, and there's a variance. Okay, so they don't need to see both of them. You'll see if the variance is 0, then they know that both of those numbers balance. Both of those versions balance,
okay,
right?
0 on the comparison.
Yeah.
0.
So this is the 2. So if I filter by member, you can see the other one. There's the 2017 SF0 and the variance, but by default it's not shown. Again, that's likewise for all the other key figures. So I've only selected certain key figures: sales, initial GP, interim GP, trading GP. They don't need to see all the other components of that. If those are all right, then they know everything else is right. So this is the workbook they use to execute all their planning sequences. Locking in the corporate forecast, doing the weekly snapshot, creating the versions for budgeting, creating the versions for forecasting. This is where they do the control. So this workbook is used by the central team, Kishan and his team, Ben Johnson and his team. Okay, so in this, so everyone, they have a new Excel add-in called CFTS Planning. This is the bit that Shiva develops and supports. So he's created this Excel add-in, which gives it's more custom toolbar for the user, and allows them to execute very similar steps to what the analysis toolbar will allow in the planning review. But you've got to drop down for planning sequences. So we create all the planning sequences. We create all the planning sequences in RS Plan, and Shiva adds them into the workbook here and creates a user interface. Okay. So if I want to create the corporate forecast, I click on corporate forecast, and he has a form that comes up. It's basically telling what we're doing. And each of these forms are custom to what planning sequence you're running. So in this case, it's the corporate forecast. In another case, it would be a weekly snapshot. So they're all custom to what the actual step that they're going to do. All right, so in here, and then only the snapshot versions are applicable to be selected, right? So very important. Also very important to note that the versions you pick on the prompt of the workbook should be pertain to the steps, the action of the planning sequence you're going to run, or you're going to run the planning sequence and you're not going to see the data in front of you because you've run it for a different, you created a weekly snapshot for S46, but you're not looking at S46, you're looking at SFO and SWO. It's very important that if you are having to troubleshoot, if you're selecting the right versions on the prompt. The versions on the prompt also depict what planning sequences, what comes up in here. So if I went and picked on the prompt, for instance, I picked, say, S01, okay, for instance, and I want to try and now run the corporate forecast, it's gonna leave it blank. It's not gonna let me run it. So there is some integrity here. You can only run the corporate forecast from SWO. Okay, so that it does prevent that situation would happen, that you're going to run it for either for not run it for, because it's all hard coded in the back end for what you're actually running it for. It's just what's displayed, but that you're not going to run it and go, oh, this hasn't worked, right? That's the reason. So there is integrity behind it. So those are so you've got all the 5 planning sequences that we went through last week. Those are all there. So this is the review workbook. The other workbook, I'm going to close it down because I'm going to show you. I need to go into production to show you. Okay, very quick here. So it's a subcat workbook. This is where the planners actually input the numbers. So you'll see there are a lot of folders. We have one folder down here called Workbook Role Commercial Finance BSM. Okay, this is where the workbooks which we publish are stored and saved. So they're the master template workbooks. And we have the subcat. We have a list box. So the subcat workbook is just got a single subcat, or a single tab for subcat. But what the business go and do is they go and add other tabs, and they have 5 subcats in the prompt, and they go put a single subcat on each tab. Okay, and then they go and save it as their own workbook. We created a list box, so they didn't have to create separate tabs for workbooks. If they have 5 subcats, there is a list box, allows them to filter based on a list box. Okay, so they don't have to go and add multiple tabs.
In a single tab itself.
Single tab, but just with the drop-down box allows them to just change it.
Okay.
Then we just created templates for a 5-tab subcat workbook and a 10-tab subcat workbook for those bigger categories. Because what happens is when we make a change to the query, they need to go and refresh each tab, or recreate or change to the add-in. We need to recreate the workbooks. It's quite onerous. So we just created some masters for them. So for a category manager who has 8 subcats, he just goes and picks up the 10 one, deletes 2 tabs, and he can just go set his filters on each of the subcat tabs for that 8. So we just to help them. So what they go and do is we have the workbooks stored, created as WB_CFTS plan. When they go and create their own custom workbooks, they put a Z in front of it. They're only able to save workbooks with a ZW, with the naming convention ZWB_CF, and then whatever else they want to do. But it has to be that naming convention. They won't be able to save workbooks if they don't. Okay, so these are all their custom workbooks that they've created. Now I'm just putting a disclaimer here that these are custom workbooks. We don't own them. We don't support them. They mess them up. They have to go recreate them from the master. Okay? If there's a problem with the data, fair enough. We look after the data. But if there's an actual problem with their workbook,
whichever they customly created, then we will not support. You go ahead and
recreate it. If you put macros and formulas and whatever else you want to do in there, it's your problem. Okay, so I don't think that is, you need to support these custom workbooks. Obviously, you can look at them, see if it's okay, if they've got any issues, and if you can help them. But if the master's okay, then it's going to be created.
Is the master is maintained in the document?
So these are the workbooks.
Master workbooks are maintained in the document so that we can.
They are in the.
They are master. They are
in the technical design documents. Yes. Yeah. They're in there. So these are all. So basically, each category manager has his own role, whichever he's supporting, and then they have their own workbooks within there. Okay.
How many master workbooks you have created approximately?
There's 4.
Just
5 or 5.
Just 5.
Because there's the central team, which is 1, and these 4. Okay. But they literally a copy of. It's the same. It's one so it's the same queries. The same queries are in those workbooks, all the same.
But to
To
support their view how they want to manage, you have created multiple formatting.
Yeah. So in the subcat workbook, it's got 2 queries. They're all in those 4. The department workbook's got its own query. Okay, and that's all in the document. So quickly, I want to touch on roles. Let me open up the workbook. This is the list box. I probably don't know if I should be doing this because they might be planning. This is in production. Okay, I'll just show you the prompt. I might actually go in Dev and open it up. Let me do that. I'm just conscious of the time now. Let me just talk about the security aspects of it rather than that. Rather than show you that. So security. Here's the security. So there's different levels of security, depending on which area you are. So there's the finance manager in the central team, who's Kashan. He has that role, and which gives him access to both the subcat workbooks and that department workbook I've just shown you. Then there's a coordinator role, who's the BA, who supports the planner. He has access to the subcat workbook, and then the planner has access to all the custom workbooks. Okay. They request access via UPP form. So depending on the role that you have in the business, that's how you request the access. And the different access has a different workflow. So if you are a planner, you would then request access to planner, then the workflow gets fired off to the central team to actually put on the UPP form which role you require, because there's all those roles that we've just seen there. So he will say, okay, well, you from HVB Pet, you need the HVB Pet role. Okay, and so the central team will put that on the UPP. That will then go to user admin.
Okay.
If you are a coordinator, you get access. I think there's 6 approvers. You get all the custom workbook roles as well. You just have access to all of them. And if you are the central team, well, then you have the central. So there is a workflow here of how it all goes between which role you are requesting and how the access works. And there's a master role sheet. which is the one we've just sort of looked at.
Is that BW team is part of that workflow? No, right?
It's just to be aware.
Okay.
It's just to be aware of it. Someone says, how do I get access? Yeah, so these are all the roles. So it should all go to central team, and the central team will copy one of these roles and that role into the UPP. So just so that you're all aware that there's different depending on where you are. So that's what I just want to quickly cover it. Yeah. And what's this? Roles and authorization. That's fine. So that was just quickly to cover the roles side of things. Okay, over to you guys. That's all I need to say. Do you need to show me a screen or anything, or you're doing a playback now?
Yeah.
Do you need to share the screen?
Vivek?
Oh, yes.
Vivek, Emma completed her session, okay, for today. So she handed over to us to proceed with that playback session. So you guys ready, right? Hello?
Yes, Abdul. We are ready.
Okay, you want to, share some screen to Emma, or, you'll be, how you are going to, give the playback?
Have the screen.
Okay, shall I ask her to give the control or change the presenter?
They can present it, and we can click on the icon and you can see the screen here.
Okay, we can switch over here.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go ahead and present that screen.
Can you click on screen?
On who? On what?
You go to the sharing, click the yes.
This one.
Yes.
Yeah, so probably they will share the screen here and then start with the.
Do I need to present, to share? Do I need to hand it over?
No problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I please stop the screen sharing? That's right.
No, come again.
Can I please stop the screen sharing from your side?
Okay, just stop the screen sharing.
Okay, done. I stopped it.
Yeah, it's done.
Are you able to screen or screen? Hello?
It is taking time.
It's taking time, but probably it will load.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I will start the session first.
Okay. So basically, Hari and you will be covering this playback session. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
So Umesh can't hear this, can you?
Umesh?
I think
Yes, I did.
No. I think you are hearing, right, Umesh?
Yes, I can hear and I can see the screen also.
Okay, he's hearing it.
Umesh, can you hear the team from offshore as well?
Yes, Anand.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
okay.
That's fine. Go ahead. So basically, two guys covering this playback session.
Mm-hmm.
One by name Hariharan Ravi.
Say that again.
Hariharan Ravi.
Hari, okay.
Yeah, Hari.
Yep.
And the other one is Vivek.
Vivek, okay.
Yeah. So first, Hari is going to start the playback session, and in some part of time, Vivek will take part.
Okay. Are they any specific So
How they
split it, yeah.
So really, I don't know.
Okay.
So let them start.
Okay.
So anything gap we can fix it. Okay, Hari, go ahead.
Yeah. For the integrated cloud clarity, what is the user group feelings for going to use this application? One first team is central team, then there's commercial finance team, and the going to use this application as of now.
I can't understand. Sorry, can you slow down? Or what did you say?
So what he is saying, he is basically saying, okay, these are the user groups who will be effectively using this planning application.
Okay.
Yeah, just he's starting with that.
Yeah, actually, what
This is my slides.
Yeah, based
Okay.
on your slides only, they're giving me the playback. What is
Okay.
their understanding?
Okay. All right. Let's
So
carry
they
on.
never created a new one.
Let's carry on.
Instead, whatever you have given, where their understanding is. So that is how they need to come.
All right. Let's just see how we go.
Yeah, if required, you can share your feedback with him.
All right. Sorry. Carry on.
So to input class first is they will go for with forecasting. In forecasting, they will copy the what budget they have copied to the weekly forecast. And then once the weekly forecast, we will play with the data. And once the forecast values are locked, they will go for corporate forecasting for recruiting function purpose. So till this corporate forecast, till this weekly forecast, the values will be changed. Once they will finalize, it will go for corporate forecast. So once the corporate forecast is finalized, then only we will get the finalized value. So in budgeting, what we will do, what are the values we planned in the in budgeting, what is the value planned in weekly forecast? They will take that weekly forecast value, and then from this weekly forecast value, they will go for budgeting for the previous for the next year based on this previous current actual value, and then they will go for reporting. So these links will be given in.
Sorry. What is that with the actuals value? What did you say there about the actuals value?
So with reference to the actuals, they will do the plan budgeting.
The reference to the actual value, they will go for budgeting.
Okay.
Yes. Trying to open the link. Wait a minute.
We don't need to go through the whole process.
Yeah. Should we go to the whole process, Sama?
No.
Not a good.
No. I know that's not going to give me an idea that you understand it just by reading these boxes. So no, let's just carry on with the playback. You don't need to cover the process.
Hari, what she is saying, in depth, each process is not required, but at least, in the high level, okay, how you are understanding, our understanding, she wants to know that.
Okay.
So go ahead with the next slides.
planning model. So I will explain data target users for this IP. The first one for annual client's query aggregation level. So the user can just import the item level wise of vendor to track the specific deal
So what did he say? Vendor.
clients.
Did he say vendor?
She's instead of manual claims, she's saying is vendor claims.
Okay. So can you say that again? It's not coming through clearly.
Vivek, could you please come again?
A01 is the query real-time aggregation level. This is usually used for planning for subcategory and physical peak. So the two aggregation level for planning sequence. The two levels are there. So the level 1 is used for physically weak and year, which is used for an acceleration level. So the second one are physical weak only for the acceleration. Both is exactly same, only for weak year and one for only physical weak. So the other one for annual claims, which is to import item level data or vendor track the composition to specific deal. Give simple input of annual claim data. So there are three input queries are used here. So one for plan year, the one for plan plus 1 year. For example, if you are planning for 2017, also we need to plan for 2018 as well. So the third one is query for manual claim. So the queries are planning summary query. So the second one is department category wise. These are the planning sequence. First, we need to copy or create the budgeting. So then we need to create a forecasting for the month. Also, we create a corporate forecast or monthly forecast. And we need to create a weekly snap, create a budget.
Okay, can you elaborate on all of these, please? It's not really just reading what my slide says. I need you to elaborate so that you understand. I get that you understand what each of them is.
So Vivek, what she is asking, once you read out, these are all the 7 planning sequences, then you will be going through each planning sequence, what it does. You got her question? Am I audible? Vivek? Okay. What she is asking, if for example you are saying copy or create for budgeting, okay, that planning sequence, what it does, basically.
That's right.
So that is what she is expecting. Emma showed right in the workbook. Okay, there is a planning button is there. She is showing everything, all these operations, right? So she wants to understand, okay, from this version to this version, okay, copy or create budgeting, what that planning sequence is doing. That is what she is asking.
When I went through these, I explained what each of them did.
Yes.
So, this is Govind.
Yes, Govind.
Do you want them to go through the financial sectors one by one, or what's the expectation there?
Just if you are saying, create copy bar create for budgeting, okay, you can take one planning sequence and you can say, what exactly it is doing. It will copy, from this version to this version, like that, it will perform one action, right? That is what she is asking.
Because this is in the technique, this is all governed, that was all what I had shared in my last session, and pointed you to the design documents and the technical doc, which got all the detail. And as I said in my last session, I expect that those documents have been read through and understood and come back and can play back to me. There's no point in you just reading my slides back to me. I know what that says. I need you to know that you understand what it's doing. And if you're not prepared for it, then we need to come back and have another session. We've only got 7 minutes. I don't want you to go through and read the technical design document to me either. I need to know that you understand.
Okay, Vivek, if it is not, covered in that level, you are not prepared in that level, then, as said by Emma, we need to buy some time. We need to, be prepared, according to her, what is expected. And then, we can proceed with that. Is that fine?
Okay.
So already had a week's delay. Bear that in mind. It was supposed to be last week. So we've got a few more minutes. If you're not prepared for the playback, let's reschedule the playback. But from the last 5 minutes, if anyone has any questions you'd like me to answer, then I'm happy to. I can also show you the other workbook, which I've just opened. Or we can answer, I can do questions. It's up to you.
Let's just explain this workbook.
Quickly show you this. Okay, so I'll go back to me and I'm going to share. So this was the subcat workbook. I open the list box. I'm in dev, so that's all fine. So on here, they get to choose 3 versions and years. Only the version 1 is input enabled. The other 2 are comparison versions and years. I just had a variant there, which is biscuits. So they can put as many subcats in here as they want, but it is mandatory, so they at least have to put 1. Okay. Okay. So it will open up, should open up on the current planning year, current planning week being 46. So the rest is all hidden over here. You can see the 1 to 45 is hidden. But they can, through the CFTS, they've got different controls here where they can display the past periods, okay? I won't do it now. Here's the drop-down box that allows them to select either the different 5 subcategories that I chose on the prompt, and they can specifically choose, and it will filter the data accordingly. Okay, the yellows are the input-enabled cells. Allows them to save. So if I go and put, I'll just put this in here. So you put in $5 as price, and I put 100 in sales. The recalculate and the save are then enabled, and I can then save the data. It will then determine the quantity. Okay, it's all 1,000 scaling factor. Okay, so that's actually 100,000, and I'll put that. So yeah, by week, by subcat, these are all the measures. There are key figures which are hidden by default, so there's a lot of other key figures that are there. It allows them to see variances, percentage growths. There's specifically ones. So specific key figures are displayed for long life to a different set of that are displayed for fresh. So depending on which area you're from, you can then go and say, okay, well, I only want to see the long life key figures, and it will filter the key figures. Okay. And fresh, if I want to go fresh, it changes the key figures. That's coming up, it's just this characteristic combination warning. It's coming up, it's telling me about week 53. So it's just a warning, don't worry about it. Okay, it's just saying that 53 is here, but there's no 53rd week in 2017. So I can't plan anything, but you see it's grayed out. It's not input enabled. Yeah. So this is the plan. They have a manual claim sheet as well. Now this requirement came very, very late in the piece.
Okay.
So it's basically, this is the item level manual claims that we were just talking about, the aggregation level, and they can input manual claims. Over here on the, these columns here, they go and put description and text and vendor and if it's cycled or not, it's all Excel. So in the phase 2, we're going to be revamping this, bringing that all on the system. They can actually type in the description and whether it's cycled, but we need to wait for 2.4 and 7.5 to do that.
Okay.
So waiting for the upgrade.
Okay, so in order to store all those texts and
You can't plan on text now. So in order to plan on text, we need 7.5 and AFO do 2.4. So this will allow them to go and enter by subcat. We put a sequence number in here so it keeps the sort order accordingly, so that if they do enter Excel, it just retains the sorting. Because what will happen is if they put a week, a subcategory in there with a higher week, say week 38, it will sort it by that, and it will change the, they may have written text. So that's why we have the sequence number in there. On the summary, it just does a roll up for all the subcats that you've chosen on the prompt. And over on the end here, you've got by month and by quarter and by half and per year. But it's an aggregation of all those subcats you chose on the prompt. Okay, that's that workbook. 1 more minute.
How is the patching helping here with the workbook for them?
So they will patch. So they will probably post some sales or manual claims or whatever it is for 10 weeks ago. But because we're only updating every last 6 weeks, that's why it needed the patching to go back. We need to go back further. That's why we do the 117 weeks on a weekly basis. They'll see the patching in the actuals. Then the actuals will actualize the S00. That's how they'll see it.
And they copy it, start using it.
Then they see it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the actualization also will go back and do the 117 weeks on a weekly basis. So the S00 and the 0 versions should all be the same for past periods. Should be the same. They're not really interested in the past, they only really look at the future, but they do want the whole year to be correct, right? Yeah. So that's
Okay. So do we have any year activities or clarity?
Because that has to be documented with last minute. Don't want any doubts or something.
Because at this point in
Later
time, we
we can-
haven't seen a year-end activity, and I'm not sure how it will go. We don't want to see something new. If it is already documented, then it's good.
Let me have another think about that. The only thing I can think of is sort of years, but they should all be there already. You know how the years should be open. I guess fiscal year variant should always be created for future years.
Yeah, that's where
All that sort of stuff.
yeah.
So all that's
Yes.
being handled, then it automatically comes through here.
And just want to have it one page kind of thing. If you could take time, but
I can't see. Let me have a think.
okay, yeah, just
I'll have a think if there is anything.
That will help us actually. Even in the team, keeps rolling to different team members. When it's in the document, we can keep giving it.
Yeah. I think
with the last minute we don't want
I think
to
there is
compare
something, and
even-
I have documented it, so I'll just see if I can dig that out.
Okay.
Hello?
Sorry to interrupt, Emma. Actually, we have to vacate the meeting room now.
No problem. We're all finished anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please come prepared next time.
Sorry?
So what she is requesting is please come prepared for the next time.
Mm.